thank you. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Squire Khnor.
I'm Squires Dymphna.
And today we're going to talk to you about field heralding.
All my notes are on my phone, that's why I keep looking at it. I'm not ignoring you people.
What do you mean, you people?
Yeah.
We mean you,
So-
Khnor.
That's right.
Essentially, this is everything that isn't like tournament heralding, right? So this is heralding for a practice and heralding for an event, which are two kind of different things. We're going to get to that.
So as a herald, we have a handful of things that are our responsibility, but the biggest thing, the most important thing to keep in mind is safety. Like, that's what we're here for. So there's a few different things that I try to keep in mind if I'm field heralding. So one of the things is like your environment. So if you're going to an outdoor field, keep in mind where potholes are, rocks are, that kind of thing. It's just good to keep in mind, especially if people are in the middle of fighting and somebody needs to go down on a leg or something. If there's a great big rock there, it's not super great. You can call a hold, move them, and let them resume. That's something to keep in mind. If it's an indoor practice, things like support beams I've seen in gyms, stuff like that are things to keep aware of. Just know what's going on, because your fighters, most likely when they're in the heat of the moment, are not going to be paying attention to everything going on around them, and you don't want somebody getting injured if you can help it.
Particularly inside, this isn't an issue we have ever. If you have an indoor practice and you have people who like to grapple, consider telling them not to, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Inside means harder floors and bigger and weirder obstacles.
That's definitely a thing.
We can go back and forth if you want.
Sure.
When it comes to safety, there are always going to be tempers. That's probably the thing people think of most when they think about heralding. At some point, someone's going to get angry at somebody else. Keep your ears open. It can happen where you can't see it. In the short term, if people are upset with each other, like, make them step away from each other and then put them on the same team. If that doesn't solve the problem, you might have to throw somebody off the field. Honestly, I don't think...
Like, sitting
Doesn't
people
happen
down,
as much.
it doesn't happen very often, but needing to sit people down is not the end of the world. Sometimes people just need to sit down and walk it off. And they might not like you very much at first. That's okay. Don't back down. It doesn't have to be an emotional. It's like, look, dude, that's great. Sit down for the next 2 rounds. It's not a big deal. Just do me a favor and sit down. Not everybody enjoys being told that, but usually your 2 rounds, they come back and, hey, man, yeah, I got upset because blah, 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 I'm sorry. That's usually how that goes. A big thing for stuff like that, too, is people need to be able to come to you as a herald. Like, that is also a part of safety, in my opinion. If people can't come to you and talk to you and be like, man, this sucked, or yeah, I saw this, could you keep an eye on that? There's a problem. So it is important that both parties, whoever got upset, can come and talk to you. So be sure to go out of your way to talk to them. And they might need to go step off for a minute before they can talk to you, but follow up with that. That's important.
Weapon breaks. Hold on. There we go. Now we can keep going.
Yeah, there we go.
In my experience, weapon breaks tend to be a more common danger than people, like, getting upset with each other. Use your eyes, obviously, but use your ears. You are going to hear a core break way before you see it.
Yeah.
Also, the thing that is most likely to fail in the middle of a fight, like, or in between rounds, is going to be arrows. So remind missile users to check their arrows, both like the actual tip, the foam bit, and the shaft, which people can step on and then they can like splinter, but not so much that you might notice until you've shot it and there's a jagged thing flying through the air.
That's super important, especially for shafts. Like, I've helped a few people that don't shoot very often. They're like, look, it's fine, and then I've grabbed it and shook it and it just falls over. So it's important you shake your arrows, check the tip, make sure your knock's on there good, and keep walking. It's really, your hand just goes across the arrow. It doesn't take very long. So if somebody doesn't know to do it, oh, that'll take too long. It's super easy. It's not that hard.
Also check the fletching. You lose a fletching between rounds and suddenly the arrow fails.
Yep. You need 2 for it to be illegal.
Use of Rule 0. If something is, like, arguably legal, like, football tackling people or shield, like, edging them in the body, yeah, you can kind of do that if you read the rules and think about specifically what can I do that they're not prohibiting. But don't be afraid to, like, no, that's not safe, stop.
The biggest things with calls like that is just being aware of, hey man, you know, this is legal, great, but did you hurt somebody?
Yeah.
Because that's where we can pull Rule 0, and it goes, doesn't matter, that's great, that person is now, like, limping off the field, and you actively did that, so you need to quit it. We're not here to beat up our friends, for real.
Just because someone, and this might be something you run into more at events, just because someone can do something does not by any means mean that they should. And don't be afraid to enforce that.
Yeah, especially when we're talking about body mechanics, right? Because somebody, like, Vocor checking Aiden maybe not be that big a deal. Vocor checking me for what he's worth, I'm going to die. Like, so, and that's fine, but people need to be aware of, hey, you don't need to do that. Please be reasonable, please use your head, and if I as a herald have to use Rule 0 to make sure everybody's being safe, I'm going to be slightly annoyed. Please just think, it's not very hard, but that's what Rule 0 is there for, is don't argue with me, this is unreasonable, and we both know it is. Do you want me to go to the next one?
Sure. We didn't give you guys an idea of what to expect, so I'm going to write it down right quick.
So the next things are holds. So something I see in field heralding a lot is a hold gets called and people are confused. So holds are really important. Obviously a hold is herald calls hold, everybody takes a knee and they chill out. So there's a bunch of different reasons to call it. I will say as a herald, especially when you're learning, don't be afraid to call it if you're not sure what's going on. If it's a safety issue, we can hold and we can find out it's okay and get right back up. It's not that big of a deal. You will eventually get to where you know what's a hold and where is, hey dude, just step off. But if in doubt, I would rather you use it, not need it, than vice versa. Like, if somebody can walk off the field, like, say somebody got hit in the eye with an arrow and it's just rough, it's not, they're actually hurt, they're just, yeah, wow, that sucks, and they can walk away, that's not really a hold situation, but somebody that, I twisted my ankle and I fell and I can't get up, yeah, that's probably a time where we go, okay, everybody calm down, let's try and help this guy get to the sidelines.
If somebody falls over and they can bounce back up, that's probably not a hold. If someone falls over and stays down, that's when you start yelling hold.
Right.
As a rule of thumb.
Okay. Balance? Give me balance. There, balance.
So, these are the responsibilities of a herald in order of importance. We're balanced.
Yay! So, balance is a fun thing that you will have to learn, especially at a home practice. Something about balance is there's people that are more of our stick jock types that fight in tournaments that are super good at this, and there are people that they come out like maybe every other month, they're here to have fun, that's perfectly fine, but when it comes to balancing a team, you can't put all the stick jocks against the people that are just here to have a good time. Nobody's going to have a good time. So you have to keep that in mind.
On a balanced field, rounds are longer, people have more fun, they get to learn more. On an unbalanced field, the fights are shorter, so you have to do more work. Everyone's fighting less. People aren't learning as much if they just get immediately run over. People get upset and they get frustrated because no one likes to lose all the time, and they want to get off the field, so they burn out faster.
Right, and like, even the people that are like super good at this, it's a really quick round, I'm not really doing anything, this isn't any fun, so both sides is frustrated, and then your field dies, is what happens. People go and sit down because they're not enjoying themselves.
Like, no one's learning, like, including the really good people.
Right.
Dirty Marion's weird because we have a really wide spread of skills. That's not something you're necessarily going to see in every realm. But here, it becomes more of a consideration. Keep your eyes out for people who they're living or dying changes the outcome of the whole round. Those are the people you're going to need to balance for in a way that doesn't necessarily mean an equal number of people on both teams.
Yeah, yeah. So like typically speaking, when you're setting up a team, like let's say there's 10 people, you put a 5-on-5 team, and that's normal. But if there's a heavy hitter that's a problem enough for the other team, you start balancing out by rearranging the numbers and stacking the deck against them. Because if they're doing that well, they can handle that, and then it gives the other team a chance to, well, we can jump this guy, which is, you know, sometimes that's what you have to do.
Keep in mind, there are ways to auto-balance a field. You don't have to think about this. If you're doing ditch, where the first person on the winning team who dies just moves to the other team. Like, if this is overwhelming, there are ways to make it less of a concern.
Yeah, there are different rules you can put into place so you don't have to think as hard about it. We can keep the field going and turning it out. Is that it on that? I think so. We jumped around a couple of bullet points, but they all got said, and I'm just making sure. So the next part is tempo. So that's something I see that a lot of fields have trouble with. That turns into, hey, I saw my friend and we're dead, now we're talking in between rounds, and that's perfectly fine, but these sets line up and I wasn't paying attention, and now it's been 2 minutes and people are waiting on us. As a herald, we go, hey guys, I love you. You can either step off to the side and continue your conversation, which is perfectly fine, or line up. And if you're not paying attention to me, I'm just gonna call it. And that's okay. I've had people get mad at me for that, and that's fine, but people are here to fight. So as soon as we can, we're lining up and going back again. Personally, that's why I like clearing out the people that have died. You can go back to your team, so as soon as we're done, everybody's lined back up and we can go again. Another thing that happens in that vein is, oh, I want to change my kit really quick. If they take longer than 30 seconds, I'm calling it. Like, if they can run off the field, ditch their shield, pick up whatever they want, and come back, cool, amazing, that's fantastic. But if you're making everybody wait on you because, oh, I'm going to put my strap shield on here and get this other thing and my javelin, cool, we can have a round done by the time that you're back. And it's not that you're being mean-spirited, it's not anything like that, it's the field is not waiting on you. This isn't about you, this is about the community that we're doing. Sometimes people don't think about it and they're like, oh, it's fine, and then we lose 3 or 4 people because we were waiting on one guy, so everybody takes a water break and you kill your own fields.
When in doubt, count to 30.
Yep.
Fighters are waiting on your prompts.
Yep.
And short, predictable phrases is something I consider really important when giving fields prompts. We have a handful of things we say them a certain way. I try to make sure when I'm telling a field to put their weapons up and lay on, that I am using that inflection, because then if people can't hear the words I'm saying, they hear the tempo of it, and they hear my inflection, and they can figure out what's going on based on context.
The normal weapons up, line it up, that kind of thing. Just normal, simple things.
Yeah, you've heard people say it a particular way, just do that. Everyone knows what's going on then.
Yeah, absolutely. So water breaks, especially in the warm months, are important. Typically speaking, when it's a little bit more mild, like in the spring or winter, people can kind of take water as they need. But this is a thing that turns into a safety concern for me, because I have been a field herald when college guy who just got into this really gung-ho and it's 90 degrees outside, we're just gonna fight, we're just gonna fight, we're just gonna fight. Oh God, I cannot breathe. I would really like it for you not to have to go to the hospital for me. So water breaks sometimes is necessary to be called when it's warm out. Pay attention to your fighters, because they're gonna start breathing hard, have really red face, all that stuff. That's great. Just make sure not to kill your field. The 30-minute water break is gonna kill your field because everybody sat down and now they feel sore and now I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I want to get back up and fight again. So if you can keep it to, hey, 5-10 minutes and then get back up, we're gonna come back out here, that's great. But actually pay attention to that. I've watched plenty of field heralds meanwhile, and they sit down, they're not paying attention, and 20 minutes later everybody's going, what are we doing?
Timers are your friend. Set a timer, 10 minutes max. Make sure that your fighters are thinking about dehydration and heat stroke.
Yep. Especially here, that's a thing.
Keep an eye on red faces and sweating. Look for pale faces and not sweating and glassy eyes.
Yeah.
That's an actual medical emergency. And at least one person has died of heat stroke while doing Bellegarde. It was actually Dagger here, but they've died of heat stroke while doing a stick whack. So tell your people to step off the field when they need to, but also make them do it, especially in the summer. Did we hit it? Okay. Fun! Yay!
Yay!
Believe it or not, that is what we're doing here. So this Dirtamarian in particular really likes line fights, which is fine. But if you're from a realm that likes games, keep in mind that there is like a compendium of them on Geddon. So if you need ideas, there's stuff there.
Yeah. So it's really common for us to do stand and deliver and a nauseam, which personally, like, I'm fine with that. But there's all sorts of different things, like kill your killer when you have a smaller field is great. Also keep in mind, like, the size of your field when you do stuff. If you have 20 people trying to play kill your killer, we're going to be here all day. Nobody's going to like that. 2 on spawn is one of my favorites. But yeah, like, if people are getting bored and it's stale, you can mix it up, and there's a bunch of different stuff you can look on. Geddon's a great resource for that. But most of that is pandering to your audience. Well, you know your guys, like, you're gonna know who's gonna like that and who isn't.
Time check? Anybody have time?
It is 12:06.
Okay. How do you want to do this?
So
there are a couple of things regarding the differences between practice fields and event fields we want to hit, and then I'm gonna say some stuff about being visibly feminine in heralding, and then we're gonna let you fight.
Hey.
Sure. So there are going to be some differences between heralding an event and heralding a practice. And we're gonna cover the big ones. Where do you want to start?
that's where I was thinking
Okay.
too, because I'm not sure. Like, this was the one section.
More people are gonna try to talk to you. Don't distract a herald. And if you are a herald and someone is trying to talk to you and it's not either very important and very quick, tell them to stop. Put a hand in their face if you need to. You're busy, they should know better.
Yeah.
On a similar note, people are going to ask you to field check their weapons. And you're going to need to do that while keeping track of what you're doing.
Ideally, especially at an event, if you can, hey, I am actively field heralding. Go talk to Jimmy over there. He's also a herald. He's in yellow. He's not actively doing that. Please talk to somebody that's not. There's going to be moments where that's not an option, but if you can do that, do that. Like you said, it's really important. I have a job. I'm paying attention to this. An analogy I use for a lot of my heralding stuff is there's a difference between, like, me as Dymphna and me as a herald. I am just a herald. I am not here to have, you're my buddy and we should talk. It's none of that. I am enforcing the rules. So right now I'm in the middle of my job. Please stop. It is important to keep that in mind. I think it's a really big cornerstone of being a herald, is being able to say that and accurately define what I need to do and when, such as, like you said, field checking weapons and being able to, hey, can we get so-and-so to do it so I can make sure everybody's safe.
Field announcements. Actually, no, hold on, sorry. So Dymphna was talking about, like, if you're on an event field, it's more likely someone is going to attempt to, like, argue with you. Did I catch that?
No, that's not what it was.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Yeah. So bigger fields mean more people, mean you're going to need to be louder. At events normally, thank God now in the year of our Lord 2024, we have megaphones. But sometimes you're just gonna have to be louder. Does everybody here at least know what projecting is? Okay, cool. All right, raise your hand if you don't. This is a learning environment, no judgment. Cool. Hi, Jugo. Okay, I am gonna say your name.
Yeah.
Calling them out.
Okay.
Tyra, I don't know what projection is.
Projecting is where you speak from your diaphragm, where you use your diaphragm to push air out of your lungs to be louder and to put less stress on your vocal cords. So everybody, like, projecting would be a whole other class, but everybody just do me a favor, take one hand, put it on your stomach. Aim for, like, your belly button. Now, breathe in, and as you breathe in, see if you can make your stomach, like, expand. And now on the out, go, ha.
Ha.
Ha. If you can push that ha out of your mouth, ha, that is projecting. That is how that should feel. And as you speak, think about pushing the air out with your diaphragm. Also, your diaphragm is the thing that feels funny when you've had hiccups for a long time. That's that muscle. Right?
And that's super important, especially to use that properly, because there's a difference between projecting and now you can hear me and getting louder and being screechy. So I know that you're saying words, but I have no idea what you're talking about. I know a lot of people that try to just get louder, and that doesn't always work that way.
It doesn't work as well, and you will shoot your vocal cords after a day.
You'll be gone in an hour.
Hot fields. Like, this is something you see at practices and events, but it's more dangerous at events. This is when everybody starts fighting more dangerously at the same time.
Yeah.
People, like, start fighting more sloppily. They get angry. There are more headshots. On practice fields, smaller fields, you can normally solve this with a water break. Let everybody walk for like a handful of minutes. Let them take a sec. Let them come back. On bigger fields at events, this is harder to fix. You're probably going to have to directly address it with people.
That guy knows about projecting.
Yeah, that guy does know about
Sure.
projecting.
Do you want to go to the next part?
That may be a point at which you have to start tossing people off the field for like 10-15 minutes. Again, that's not a problem I've run into a lot at an event, let alone been like the only person having to decide what to do.
Yeah.
It's just a more subtle and bigger problem the bigger the field is.
Something about events too is, especially if you're learning, as big of a field as it is, there's going to be other heralds there with you. Ask questions, find out the patterns, learn. Like, that's more than fine.
And especially at like bigger events with more people, like, don't be afraid to admit you're wrong. Like, or that you need to check something.
Yeah, so a very common thing is, hey, can I do blank? I have no idea. Like, that's the answer. Cool. I don't know, but I can find out. And usually, if you have your phone, we can get to the Book of War with our phones. It's perfectly fine to go, let me look it up. If that's not something you can do, I'd be like, you know what, I will talk to so-and-so or direct them to so-and-so and be like, talk to them and we can figure this out. That's not a big deal. We're all human. I don't expect you to memorize every single sentence in the Book of War. That's ridiculous. But we have resources for that.
Do you want to contribute to the other bit? Like,
The being thin?
yeah.
Okay, cool. You want to call it?
Yeah. So we had some other stuff.
We are kind of running.
Yeah, we're
Longer
running
on
into
time.
actual stick whack time. So
Also,
We can
there's only one femme-bodied person besides you here. Should this just be a separate class?
we have the
So-
internet. but
yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
the
maybe
next
separate
chapter
class.
of things that I would like to do is talk about being femme and small in heralding. But like we said, we took up a little bit more time than we expected, so I think we're just gonna run this as another class so we can actually take the time to do it. I know people are interested in it, and I would like to give it like a fair shake and
Yeah.
some real time.
The yes.
Later today, y'all want to just film that portion separately?
Yeah, sounds
I
great.
can do that.
That would be fantastic.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Questions.
Yep. Open floor. Speak now, forever hold your peace. All right, cool.
Yes.
Can I rule 0 someone for just consistently swinging too hard?
One moment.
So,
Yeah.
What is your question?
If you,
Can I rule 0 someone for just consistently swinging too
so
hard?
if they're being dangerous and hurting somebody or hurting more than one person, and this is a consistent, we're doing this is a common thing, absolutely. I need to pull you to the side. Hey, buddy, you have hurt so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. We need to talk, because that's not okay. I can't have you hurting my community.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's teaching people how to hit calibrate. Not everybody knows that out the gate. Sometimes they know better. Come on, guys. Like, I just need you to do better, and you know you need to do better. Let's do something. But yeah, absolutely. You can roll 0 that. Any other questions?
Yes.
What does rule 0 mean?
So rule 0 is just, it's a rule for heralds to reference when it's, there's a safety issue, but there's no technical rule for it in the book.